His first game was Hardy Boys Stunt Challenge,
Yeah.
which was like you picked one of the Hardy Boys, who obviously the WWF wrestlers who were like at the top of their game around 2000, 2002 when they were having the feuds with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys, and the first TLC matches, tables, ladders, and chairs, which I still think that those are the best ones. Is the two with the two with them.
Yeah,
I can't. Those are still the best ones. They still set the gold standard. There's
was it Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys?
yeah.
What? Yeah, that was like, and Rhino was there too, I think.
That's in TLC too.
Okay, yeah, those matches were like amazing. Those were like,
that was the best feud in like all of tag team history,
Yeah.
as long as I've been watching. Which I think I was maybe like 7 or 8 when I started watching pro wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, those were amazing matches. So I could see it. That's a good way to kind of get into video games, especially if you're a wrestling fan, and you want to like kind of make a game that is, wrestling focused. The Hardy Boys, that's like the high flying. They really, made high flying and crazy like spots from like jumping off 12-foot ladders onto tables. That was like they made that like a standard in wrestling. The Hardy Boys.
And then it eventually grew to like 20-foot ladders and 30-foot ladders and whatever the hell Jeff Hardy did, which is insane.
This guy is like fearless.
I'm surprised that guy is. I'm surprised that he's still walking.
I'm surprised he's still wrestling.
That too,
like
let alone wrestling. I'm surprised he's still walking with all the crazy bumps that he took.
Yeah. Matt Hardy too. Like,
Matt Hardy played it a lot safer. I mean, he still took very big bumps and took very high risks, but he was always the safer of the two. Like where Jeff Hardy just like threw his body into like anything that he could, like just doing like a swanton bomb, from like a 20-foot ladder through a table, knowing like how do you do that? Like how do you like what's going through your mind when you go when you know that, like, when you climb the ladder and and you're like, okay, I'm going to put myself through these tables, and because you as the performer know that the other guy, that you're going to miss this. The spot is you missing it, and you go through the tables all by yourself, and the other guy rolls out of the way. Like, how do you muster up the courage to do that?
I mean, I guess you figure if you've been doing it for years and you know that the tables are basically going to break your fall. It's still going to hurt, but you're not going to die. You're not going to get injured seriously. You'll just get, you'll probably be sore in the morning, but it won't be like terrible.
You'll probably be sore for a couple of mornings.
Yeah. I mean, you look at a guy like Mick Foley too, when he like did the spot from the top of the cage.
Well, that was like spur of the moment. He just like said that, like they went up, and the Undertaker's like, now what? Because I think Undertaker assumed that they were gonna go down, and then like Mick Foley was like, just throwing me off, and he was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I and then there you go. Bye. And luckily he did not die, but I think everyone's reaction thought that, like, they all thought that he was dead.
I remember I was listening to an interview with the Undertaker. It might have been when he was on Joe Rogan about like a month or so ago, and he was saying basically when he did that, like he had like an out of body experience almost. Like he threw Mick off the cage, but like he saw himself doing it from like far away almost. Like it was like an out of body experience because of how crazy it was. It's like. He was like, first he's like, oh God, did I just kill this guy? Like.
Well, I mean, if you ask Jerry Lawler or like Jim Ross, the first thing that they thought was, oh God, this man is dead in front of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's freaking Jim Ross's like literal reaction. The famous like, good God Almighty, that killed him.
Yeah, like. I saw something. I saw like an interview with him at one point. I think it was when he was doing his like under the black hat tours or whatever he was calling them, where he was just going to cities, kind of like how Mick Foley was doing the stand up / one man shows, which are awesome by the way. JR was doing it too, and I saw something where he was talking about it, and he said, one of the most common questions that I get asked is about that call, and like one of the questions that I get asked is, so like how did you make that, like did you know you were going to say that? How did you make that call? Did you know it was planned? Mm-hmm. And he was like, why would anybody plan that? He's like, you really think that I planned that call?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I wish, you never, like, it kind of always gets overlooked that, like, he went through the Spanish announce table, so imagine what their reaction was, know?
I think that's probably a better reaction, but because this is an American company, that's the call you heard.
Yep. I wonder if there is, like, a record of that, like, if they have, like, the Spanish broadcast where you can hear that, like, what their reaction is in the Spanish announce table.
Oh, you could probably find it.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I wonder if you can if you change the audio to just Spanish, then like you pick up the Spanish announcers.
Like on the on the network.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like that simple.
Could be. Although they might have like redubbed, because it's more modern.
I don't think they would have put that much time into that.
Well, who knows? Friggin' Peacock is going back throughout all of like the WWE shows that they have on their network and editing everything out, like all bad stuff, like middle fingers, anything. Like
they're getting the middle fingers too.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I've heard. They're like going back and there's like memes going around at like the Peacock, like the interns at Peacock when you have to go through the Attitude Era, and it's like it's like just like a picture of someone that's like, oh my god, like like.
Oh well, I can't wait until they get to the Katie Vick storyline then.
Oh god, they'll probably just have to just delete that whole storyline.
I mean, honestly, it's probably for the best.